guys, and welcome to another official Photographer video blog. My name's Luke, and today in this video blog we're going to be talking about the settings that I use, my benchmark settings, the basic settings that I go back to time and again to set up the shots that I want to get. This is the first of a three-part series, and in this episode we're going to be covering aperture, and then episode 2 and 3 is going to be shutter speed and ISO. Okay, so let's get to it. And let's start with aperture f4 to f1.2. Why do I put my settings here? Well, they're great for headshot and portrait photography. I find if you want to do a really good headshot, then you want to set it to f1.2. It really softens the background. It creates beautiful bokeh, which is another term for the soft background, the distorted background that we get in the low aperture value shots, and it isolates the subject from the background, so it adds a lot of emphasis on the subject. So it's telling the viewer what's the most important thing about the shot. Now, I love f4 as well, f4 to f5 or f3, depending on the kind of shot you're trying to get. It's really good for environmental portrait. It's great for softening the background, placing a lot of emphasis on the subject, but it doesn't soften it as much as the f1.2 value. It still adds context. You know where the person's standing, you know what environment he's in. So therefore it's great for environmental portraits. One top tip, something you've got to be aware of, is if you're shooting something on low aperture values, autofocus is incredibly important, because if you're focusing on the subject, I'll be nice and sharp, the background's going to be soft. But if you focus on the background, then I'm going to be very soft and the background's going to be nice and sharp. Great if you want the background to be nice and sharp, but it's an epic failure if you want the subject to be nice and sharp and you want a soft background. So just be aware with your autofocus and just spend a lot of time recomposing a shot once you've focused on something that's important. Okay, f8. Why do I shoot at aperture value f8? Well, scientifically and theoretically, it's the best quality photo you can produce on the majority of lenses on the market. f8 is the sweet spot on the majority of lenses, so it's a very good starting point if you want to produce a best quality shot. I also find from personal experience it's great for a street photography setup. f8 is great for capturing a lot of the action happening on the street, because it's all mid-distance usually, but you can also just about blag a landscape shot, and you can also do an environmental portrait, although I might be looking at going down to these values. But if I just want to capture the action and not worry too much about my camera settings, f8 is really good. Well, once again, when it goes back to the theoretically best quality for lenses, it might not be for your lens. So by all means, just get to know your kit really well, work out what works, and where the sweet spot is. There's no substitute from experience and just knowing your kit. Okay, f14 to f18. What's this aperture value good for? Well, it's good for landscapes and cityscapes. It's great for capturing a vista. It's great for getting things in the foreground and the background pretty sharp, so there's no softening of the shot. There's a value to f14 to f18. Well, f14 is good, compromise getting everything in focus. f18 is a number you might have to use if you've got something in the foreground interest quite close to the lens. The closer to the lens, the higher the aperture value you need to get it in focus. But once again, with photography, it's all about compromise. Why don't we go much above 18? Well, theoretically, if you go too high, then you lose the quality of the photo due to diffraction. It's the bending of the light inside your lens. It's all very scientific. You don't need to know that. All you need to be aware of is that the higher the number, the softer the photo is going to be. And you'll notice it in the corners of the shots. The center of the shot might be quite sharp, but it's in the corners it'll get softer. But once again, it depends what you're photographing. If you've got lots of clouds up above in the corner and they go a bit soft, then it might not be a deal breaker. But if you've got people's faces and things like that, which you need to keep the detail in, then you have to be really aware of that. So anyway, these are just the settings I use. All they are is the starting points, so you've got a basic understanding of where to put your camera to get the shots that you kind of want to get. Every photographer has its own set of numbers. These are just mine and they've done me very well in the past. I'd love to know how you guys get on. Until next time, have great fun shooting. Take care.